Hello, everyone. This is Music with Jose Tercero, and today I have the privilege, I have the honor to have with me in my channel, in my studio, well, virtually, not only a great musician, not only a brilliant cornet player, but also an incredible human being. Today, Lexi Dill. So how are you, Lexi?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm very excited to have you with me. Thank you very much for being here. Like, I truly appreciate this opportunity. I might as well just reach for the stars. You're my first guest, and you're setting the bar really high for my following guests.
Whoa.
Tell us about you.
Sure. First, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. So I was born in Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. At the moment, I'm currently in Elwood City in Pennsylvania. So I have a job here now, and I'm liking it so far. Right now, we're doing music camp. So I'm out here like in the woods around nature. And I grew up in the city, so very different. I can talk about my family too. So my mom is still in Toronto, and I have a sister, one sister who lives in Michigan right now, finishing up her master's degree.
Do you come from a musical family?
Only my sister and I have been formally trained, I guess you can say, but my dad and my mom, they didn't really get like formal training, like they couldn't really play instruments, but they love music. So yeah, I come from a musical family.
You also grew up in the Salvation Army. Is that true?
That's right.
Okay.
So, well, my mom and dad were going to the Yorkminster Citadel Salvation Army Church in Toronto. And we had a brass band, a really big brass band. And we also had like a choir, or they call it songsters, songster brigade in the Salvation Army. And so even as a baby, I'd sit in the Sunday service if I was quiet. So I was like exposed to like really good brass banding and really good singing from a young age. And then when I was old enough to like join singing company, like the little people choir, I did that with my sister. And then I guess a big like moment was when my sister was old enough to do brass. I don't know exactly how they measure it. I think it's when they like stop losing teeth or they lose their first tooth or something. My sister started to learn the cornet. Like they just had volunteers come after church and they let my sister play cornet. And then, you know, being the younger sister, I'm like, wait, if she gets to do it, I get to do it too. So I would just go with her, even though I was like 4 or like 3. And so they gave me a mouthpiece to make me feel included.
That's a great story. When did you discover that this was your thing?
Ooh, my thing?
That this was something that the language you wanted to express your thoughts and emotions and feelings in yourself.
You know, I think that's a big question. It didn't come until much later, I think. Like maybe I didn't realize it, but it was true. Like music for me, especially like in the Salvation Army, it's like a social thing. You do it because that's your friend group. You're all like doing the same thing. You're all playing instruments. And yeah, even when you go to school, it's just like community. We're all just making music together. And so I want to say when I decided to like pursue music in like midway through university, I was like,
so if it wasn't music, did you wanted to do something else before?
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
Before I went to university, music was not the first thing. Even though my sister was doing it, I also applied to do, what was it? I can't even remember. But I think it was like media studies or like journalism at different schools. So I wasn't set on music. Again, it was just something like fun. and that people encouraged me to do because I was kind of good at it. So,
Oh my goodness, kind of good. Come on, you are great. Anyway, actually, let's talk about that. How did you realize that you were good at it?
someone at my church, again, I was taught by a lot of people who just volunteered their time. And this person was like the principal cornet player of our brass band at our church. And he said, I'm going to teach you private lessons because he saw that I had potential. And so I guess it wasn't until I started taking lessons with him that like his name is Bob Gray. I want to put that out there. You might know him. Bob Gray.
I do know him. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, he's another great human being.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So he took me under his wing when I was like really young.
Awesome.
Like I was probably 9. Yeah, he's the reason. He's like almost the entire reason why I got to be so good, because he took like an interest in me, and my parents, like they didn't have to pay for lessons because they can get really expensive private lessons, and he's like an amazing musician. So I think that's when it's just like people telling you like, okay, yeah, you're good. So that's like confirmation, like, oh, someone took an interest in me, so I guess I must be good. That's when I realized, I guess.
That is a very important portion of the conversation, because I told you when I invited you, this channel is dedicated to inspire young musicians, and particularly Mexicans, where I come from, where music is not always accessible. And this is actually my purpose, like to put out information that could benefit, for free, because mentors and making music accessible is so important for great talents such as yourself. That is a very touching story. And I do know Bob. Oh my gosh. I'm actually friends with him. He went to Mexico with the Canadian staff band, and that's where I met him.
Oh.
But tell me, when did you believe that you were good? Like people were telling you already. People were telling you and you were showing it. But when did you started believing it? Like, yeah, I'm actually good at this and I'm going to pursue this as a career, as a profession.
Oh, wow. Well, as a young person, it's very easy for you to grow an ego. So when I was younger and people were telling me I was good, I was like, yeah, I know I'm good. But then, you sort of go through a phase when you're like a teenager and your self-esteem is like your image of yourself sort of like dips a little. So I guess through high school and stuff, I wasn't like feeling I was amazing. I guess, when did I believe it? For sure. I still don't believe it now. Like there's like, as a musician, there's always going to be room for improvement, right? There's always somebody who does something better than you. So, I mean, I believe I'm okay. I'm good. Yeah, I can say I'm good, but there's always a voice inside your head that says, you can be better.
When you finally believe that you went to the stage we all go through, like believing we're great and then realizing like, no, there's more to learn. How do you choose what to do? Because in the army, it's so easy to get confused. And for example, for me, I thought that a Salvation Army musician, you had to be able to compose, to play, to arrange, to conduct, and also to do all these things, because we have a lot of great people in the army. But how do you choose one thing? Like it wasn't until I moved to the States when I realized, like, wait a minute, can I only do one thing? That's allowed? So how did you discover that it was music performance that you wanted to pursue?
Well, my sister, hold on, how do I say this? Teaching always seemed very intimidating to me, and I don't want to be that person that says it's either performance or teaching, but I don't know, some university forces you to kind of choose. So I saw my sister and she was doing education, so her degree's in music education, and I saw that was really hard. She had to take a lot of extra classes, so I went performance. And I guess, yeah, I chose it because it seemed easier at the time. But yeah, and then going through my degree, my master's degree in Michigan, I sort of realized that teaching is powerful. Like you can, when you perform for people, that can be powerful as well. But when you're actually going through a journey with another person, and you're actually like personally getting to know another human being, it's powerful. So I sort of was like shifting directions a little bit, and now as a DMD, you're kind of teaching a lot more than performing. So
Yeah, that is
yeah.
so true. That is so true. And for me, like, it's easy for you to say performance is easier, but for me, performance is really, really hard, especially when you have stage fright and all. But at the same time,
Oh,
I discovered that for me, writing a melody or making a composition is easier than actually performing. Like, I'm still working on my performance, but that's not my gift. It is yours. Um, so you mentioned Bob Gray, which I think I'm gonna put him in my list. I need to have him in this channel too. Like, yeah. Um, who else mentored you?
yeah, there's so many. There's like a lot. So if I try naming everyone, I'm gonna miss someone. Yeah, because when you're at church, there's just so many people cheering you on, and they're investing in you. And yeah, so, but I will mention one other person. His name is Gordon Bain. When I started playing, you have these programs in the Salvation Army or like in a church where there's always like another level to go up to. So, you are a beginner, then you're a little more advanced, then you're in the youth band. And then I finally made it into the senior band. And I was so scared, but so excited. And this person, Gordon Bain, he also played cornet, and he played in the back row with me.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, music that we played in senior band was really hard, and I would always beat myself up. Like, it's too hard. I can't do it. It's just too hard. But this person, Gordon Bain, he was always this positive person, and like he knew the right thing to say, and he encouraged me to keep trying. And something else about Gordon Bain, like he was in the band for a long time, and like I slowly, moved up the band. So I like second cornet, and then I became first cornet, and then I moved to the solo bench. But throughout those years, his health started deteriorating, so he couldn't play in the band anymore. And yeah, he ultimately ended up passing away.
oh,
And but before he passed away, though, he gave me his cornet
wow.
and his flugelhorn.
Oh, that's a great legacy. Mm.
So yeah, I play on his cornet right now, and I play his flugelhorn still. So he's a huge mentor and like a person who impacted my life a lot. So yeah, Gordon Bain. His wife, Kathy Bain, still goes to my church, and she also keeps on checking on me,
Mm.
always asking me how I'm doing and what's going on. So like these people, it's not just one person. There's just like so many who like just give so much of themselves to younger people. It's wow. Yeah. So that's one other person.
Oh, that is such a beautiful story. And oh my goodness, the fact that he gave you his instruments just to this is how you can make this is how humans are not eternal. We don't live forever, but this is how you can actually be eternal just by like sharing your knowledge to other people, to younger generations, and
Yeah.
to just like keep on giving and giving. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. I really appreciate
Mhm.
that. I have the
Pleasure.
exclusive. Was there ever a moment where you thought like this is not for me, this is too hard, or am I making any sense? I'm not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I understand the question. And the answer is 100%. So many times. Um, yeah, I did music in high school. Like I was in a special arts program. So they had, music, they had dance. they had visual art. So I was a music major. And yeah, there was a lot of times when I doubted if I was good enough. Even in university, like, oh, there's so many people who are better than me. And as a performer, like a trumpet performer, people sometimes are saying, oh, so your performance, which means you want to play an orchestra. You want to go and do auditions all over the place and win a job playing principal trumpet for this huge orchestra. So that didn't really sound appealing for me. And there are times when I felt like an imposter, you know? I'm doing this degree, but I don't really want to commit to that lifestyle. So thankfully, though, there's other people who like get that. And so another person I want to mention, Jennifer Oliverio, Dr. Jennifer Oliverio, she taught me during my master's in Michigan, and she said, no, there's other avenues. You just have to find your way, and no one's way is going to be like straight. Do you know what I mean? So as long as you're always taking like the right next step for you, and as long as you're being true to like you're going to find your way. You're going to find where you're supposed to be. So she encouraged me to not only explore performance, but also, you know, working with a nonprofit or, yeah, just being a part of a movement, you know? So, yeah, she opened my eyes. She made me stop lying to myself and lying to other people about what I wanted to do.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's lying. It's more like discovering. I think you're very young. You're really young still, and I think you're still like discovering what music journey. I think that you're still making your musical journey, which is totally valid. I've been in this for a while, and I still doubt myself. I still don't know where my place is. Like I'm still finding out, you know. So I totally understand what you're talking about. I want you to share like what motivates you, like what kept you going in those moments where you were doubting yourself, maybe.
Oh, when you said besides people, I actually rely heavily on like my sister and my mom. But yeah, during those moments, it would always be the same thing. It always led back to like what was most important in my identity. And that to me was first and foremost, you are a child of God. And like no matter how well you play, or if you do not become a performer, if you drop out of school or whatever, you're still going to be loved by God, and you're still going to be his. So that kept me going, you know, especially when there are like these negative things all around you. You can stay centered, you know, knowing that that's not important. It might feel like really important right now, but you're fine because you're a child of God, and nothing can separate you from his love, right? So that kept me going. Just like taking myself out of being just a trumpet player and now child of God.
Yes, thank you. That's actually a testimony. And I appreciate you doing that in my channel, because to me, it's like, no matter what I do, whether on stage or off stage, everything needs to give glory to God. That's my mindset. And I appreciate you sharing that as well. Like we share that, and that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. What would you say, okay, quickly, if you can, like, what would you say to people who are finding their way? Like you kind of like were directed by circumstance, maybe, or by God. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced. But what would you say to people like that they like music, they might be talented, but they're still not like listening to the right voice in their heads? What would you say to them?
You can just make a move. Do you know what I mean? Make a move. And if it turns out to be not what God's plan is, or if it turns out to be wrong, it's okay to change directions. Because if you're just sitting and waiting, you know, things are not gonna come just flying in your, I mean, sometimes they do. That kind of happened to me. Something just fell in my lap and then I took it. But you just got to keep walking forward. And then as you are walking forward, you're going to see that like some things are going to push you in different directions. Like if you're not exploring, how are you going to figure out what you like? And also, you don't have to go into music. But if you like it, it can always be a part of your life. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to go all the way in. I highly recommend it, though. It's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of great people. It can take you so many places. Like I was just in Texas because I did music, and I met all these people from around the world at the International Women's Brass Conference. So
Wow.
like music can do that, right? It's just this huge network of people all over the place. So I highly recommend it, but that's not to say that, you know, other things can help you explore and just expose you to different ideas, different people. So yeah, that's but ultimately move forward. Just take another step and see where it leads you.
Yeah, that's powerful. Thank you very much. Do you feel like you have accomplished your dreams so far in life, your dreams in life?
Wow. Yeah, that was a good question when you sent that to me. I had to think long and hard about it, and I actually wrote down what my dreams were. So one of my dreams was to travel a lot and to use my gift for good. And hold on, what was the other one? Yeah, and to be in an environment to live out my faith freely. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty much living my dream right now. I've been places, I meet a whole bunch of people, and I'm surrounded by people who love me and love God. So yeah, I'm living my dream.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there anything you want the world to know? Like, is there a message that you want to tell the world?
Okay, to the viewers of Jose Sanchez's channel, no matter who you are, what you look like, what you identify as, or what you've done, you are always going to be loved by God. That's my message.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, and a good reminder for myself as well. So that's a beautiful reminder. Thank you very much. Lexi, thank you so much. I hope you have fun.
It was amazing.
We didn't talk about the Matilda Award. Can you quickly tell us about that award you won?
Yeah. So this is an award specifically given out by the University School of Music, Theater, and Dance. They have different types of awards. I won the Distinguished Musicianship Award for the graduate category for this year. So I don't really know what you have to do to get it, but they were gracious enough to give it to me. So yeah.
Well, you earned it. You definitely earned it. As soon as I thought, like, I should invite people, I'm like, who? I thought like they need to be great, and immediately your name popped out in my head. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. I hope you have fun. I don't know, but
yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been fun. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you.
En verdad deseo de todo corazón que hayan sido inspirados y motivados a seguir haciendo eso que más amamos, que en este caso es música, a través de esta conversación. Si tienen más preguntas, si tienen comentarios, no duden dejarla en el espacio específico para eso. Tampoco olviden suscribirse a este canal para que no se pierdan ninguno de los episodios. Y mientras tanto, sigan haciendo música a todo volumen.